Hey there, Clariphiles and Clariphilettes. It's time for another presentation, and this time I'm going to try to answer a question that one of our viewers asked, and it was a very astute question and probably one that most of you will find interesting, and that is exactly how do you slur down? You know, getting the high notes is a part of a problem that young players work on, and players that are wanting to advance, and so they get good, secure high notes. But then once you get up there, how do you get down effectively? And you know, slurring down can be a problem. It's easy to, when you slur down, say, from an altissimo note into the clarion register, it's very easy to crack a note. Notes will be unstable. All kinds of problems flow from that. So exactly how do you solve the problem? What's the best way to do the slurring? And what are some of the prerequisites for being able to successfully slur down with a lot of confidence and a lot of security and stability in what you're doing? Okay, we're going to answer that in this upcoming video. The first thing that you do whenever you're trying to tackle a problem is that you secure everything that can be secured. You analyze and make sure that anything that might, say, be standing in the way of being successful at a, say, task X would in fact be functioning right. So let's say that doing task X depends on X, Y, Z, or depends on A, B, C, D, and E being right. Well, you've got to make sure those things are right. In terms of being able to play the high notes with security and also to be able to slur down with security, several things need to be on your checklist. First of all, you need to be sure that you're using your embouchure techniques right. Jaw position, if the jaw position is incorrect, if you're taking too much read in or too little read in, or if pressure is being applied to the reed incorrectly, that is with that upward biting kind of pressure, that's no good for the embouchure. You've got to make sure that you're using your snugging techniques with no biting, no upward pressure in the jaw. All those things need to be gone through, so you need to make sure that your embouchure placement and embouchure energy usage is correct. The next thing that you need to check out is your reed mouthpiece combination. Is the mouthpiece well made? Are your reeds well balanced? Are they comfortable when you're playing? Do they require you to make inordinate changes in embouchure air pressure in order to have certain areas of the clarinet respond, especially the high notes? That's another important thing. And of course, you need to make sure that your clarinet is in adequate repair, and also that your airstream is being used correctly, and that the air is properly supporting the note, properly present when the note is released, and that the air is of the right quality. And we talked quite a bit about the air in previous videos, so there's no time and no reason to go through that now because we've already gone over it. So if someone would like to go back, go on back and check those videos out. They may be beneficial to you in terms of being able to analyze the way you blow and techniques like that. So once you've gone through the checklist, then you're ready to start thinking about exactly how to go about slurring down confidently, making good, solid attacks. Okay? So now that we've gone through our checklist, or I'm assuming that we have, then we're going to go on here now and talk about how you can do it and how you can do it well, how you can slur down very well from the altissimo or third register into the second or clarion register. You know, certain things stick in your mind as a clarinet player, certain things that you learn. I guess just certain things that you learn in life stick in your mind, and they stay with you, and you're not exactly sure why they stay with you, but you realize that when you've heard it, that it's of really great value. I remember one of those years ago, and again, I don't remember the source, but I remember the specific quote, that the thoughts of the young are long thoughts. And I'll have to say that the longer I live, the truer that gets to me, because when you're young, let's say if you're young in a subject, it doesn't have to be your chronological age. If you're young in the subject, you have many questions. You follow a lot of considerations down a lot of rabbit holes. But as you get older, as you penetrate into the subject, understand the subject very well in all its parts and the way it's related, your thoughts get very much simpler and very much more direct. That's one of the ideas. And another idea that struck me, someone said to me once, clarinet players that are good clarinet players are good because they have smart tongues. They have smart tongues. And you know, I think after the person made that statement, we discussed it quite a bit. And again, the longer I play the clarinet, the longer I see that what he said was right. What do I mean by that? I mean that the quality of notes, the responsiveness of notes, and the quality, there's a timbral quality, the resonance and so on, is very deeply contingent on the placement of the tongue. Now, we've had some videos about the high back tongue position and how that speeds up the air, but that doesn't mean that, and how that centers the sound, and that's very good for clarinet playing, but that doesn't mean that the tongue itself is completely immobile throughout the registers of the clarinet. It just means that the essential shape of the tongue and placement of the tongue is fairly well set. But in order to optimize response and resonance in certain notes, there have to be certain changes, and those changes come at the tip of the tongue. Now, I've put a couple drawings up here so you can see exactly what I mean. Let's say, for instance, in the first drawing you're seeing here, the tongue position is though I'm playing a high E. And when I make the change to, say, B below that, then the tongue position moves like that. Pretty cool, huh? Well, of course, this is just an approximation, but you notice the only part of the tongue that really moves in the E and in playing the E and the B is the tip area of the tongue. The tip area moves. The back of the tongue is fairly well solid and stationary, and the tip area is moving down and moving up. Generally, for the higher notes, the tip of the tongue is going to be moving higher, directing the air into the mouthpiece and compressing things that way. And as you play the upper clarion, slur down to the upper clarion, the tongue moves like that. Now, this is not a mechanical thing that people just automatically do. How do you arrive really at the optimum changes in the proximity of the tip of the tongue to the mouthpiece to optimize the response of these notes, the resonance of these notes, and get the most secure kind of connections? How do you do that? I'll explain that in our next segment.